Stop focusing on them if you want to be in the juicy relationship you crave and don't want to be alone. Authenticity is key. Stop trying to be something that you're not. You are good enough. Now, the thing is, so many people don't feel that they are good enough, and it can be really hard to be in your authentic self if you don't even feel like you can be, because if you are, then the person that you're attracted to or that you like or that you even love might not like you back. And so there's a lot of fear around not being lovable enough and not being worthy of being with. So there's also this cultural phenomenon where if you're single, there's this odd perception that there's something wrong with you. So where does all this fear that we're not lovable come from? How can you work with something if you don't even know what exactly it even really is and where it stems from? In this video, I'm going to share 3 takeaways to help you feel more love for yourself so that the love from someone else is just the cherry on top. My name is Cheong. I catalyze your shift from the ordinary to the exhilaration of the quantum by giving you the tools to change your frequency resonance so that the life you live matches the life you dream of. I'm going to share a story I think you'll be able to relate to. I had a client who came to me right after she went through a really bitter divorce. And the reason they gotten divorced is because her ex had cheated on her with one of her really good friends. And even worse is not only did they sleep together, but now they were in love and they were thinking about getting married themselves. So she was incredibly devastated. I mean, she was just like angry as all get out with a friend for betraying her and at her ex for betraying her. And then she just was beside herself in terms of feeling like she really wasn't worthy of anything. Like she just felt like a complete piece of crap. And despite having all of this anger towards these 2 people, she still chased her ex's validation, his belief that she mattered in some way and that she was worthy of being loved and even just seen. It's only when she started to release her distortion patterns of low self-worth and non-deserving that she recognized, wait a minute, I don't need him to love me. I need to love me. Meaning, not even love at this point, just feel at ease with myself, to feel like I'm worthy in and of myself. My first piece of advice is to stop focusing on them if you want to be in a juicy relationship and to focus on yourself. Because it's so easy to say, he was a narcissist, she cheated on me, they were overly judgmental, they had a too close a relationship with their mother, and that all might be true. But the question you have to ask yourself is, why do you keep attracting that kind of relationship? And to look within yourself to see what are the distortion patterns that are running that cause you to be in that kind of relationship over and over again. Another thing is you have to be interested in yourself enough to do the harder inner work to discover what's going on within you that's causing you to be attracted to the same kind of person over and over again. I had a client, she always was in a relationship with a guy who was either emotionally absent or emotionally abusive. And it didn't matter how he treated her. She always felt like she had to do everything for him. She would walk his dogs. She would write cards to his mother. She would plan all their trips together because she needed to feel like she was doing enough to be lovable enough for him to stay. And it always ends up the same way. Here she is doing all these incredible things, and he ends up breaking up with her. She feels like she's not enough, like she hadn't done enough, she wasn't lovable enough. And ultimately, she just feels kind of terrible about herself, like she's missing something. So when she came into frequency work, she was like, okay, enough. I'm just going to stay off of men because clearly there's something wrong with me. So what she did was she released these distortion patterns of non-worthiness, of being able to receive love, of being able to see herself more clearly. So she did an amazing thing. She took a break. She worked on herself. She focused on releasing her distortion patterns. And after a few months, she's like, okay, I think I'm ready to date again. Let's just see what happens. So her friends put her on one of those dating apps. And within 24 hours, she has dates with 2 different men. She goes to coffee with one of them. And it's funny. She said to me later in a session that, Karen, this guy was the same kind of guy that I would always be attracted to. But the amazing thing was I knew that that was the type of guy I would have been attracted to. And I was like, oh, hell no. I am not doing this again. Date number 2. She meets this guy. She's like, Karen, totally not my type. Like, at all. I totally would have written him off. I wouldn't have been attracted to him at all. But ended up talking to him for like 2 hours after coffee. Now, he is super into her. And so within a couple days, they're having dinner. Within a week, they're going out camping together. Within a month, they're traveling to Europe together. And now they're married. And she said to me, Karen, I wake up some mornings and I pinch myself because I can't believe this is my life. What's amazing about it is that she was able to clear enough of her own distortion that she started to love herself, that she felt that she was worthy of being happy. And that is a thing that makes me just so emotional. So here's the thing. As incredible as her story is, you can have it too. You just need to release your wounding, the distortion patterns that keep causing the same experience to happen over and over again. And you need to know what to look for. So if you want my foolproof recipe for a passionate, highly resonating, soul-connected relationship, then click on the link in the description below for my free webinar. The last thing is to cultivate what I call the big S self. So what do I mean by that? Usually we have the perspective of what I call the little s self. You compare yourself to other people, you see the world in a certain way, you have all these stories and assumptions about who you are and what the world is. And you only see through the lens of the limitation of yourself as the ego mind. But there's this other aspect of you, the aspect that I call your big S self, the aspect of you that is infinite, indestructible consciousness, that is limitless, that it is aware that you are beloved. And you don't have to do anything to deserve it. You just are. So you might be asking yourself, what is the big S self? Because I've never felt it. Well, you likely have without realizing what it was. So if you've ever looked out over an ocean or at a beautiful sunset or looked up at a star-filled sky and you felt your heart expand with like this incredible love or gratitude for life, the reason you're feeling that heart expansion is because you're starting to experience yourself as the big S self, part of yourself, intrinsically part of the oneness, and beloved exactly as you are, because you are fundamentally so important to that oneness. So if you don't know, or you're not familiar with, or you're not aware of this aspect of yourself as the big S self, and you'd like to discover more about it, then check out this next video. See you inside.